You know, every holiday, you have to be filled with joy. With the exception of Purim, where joy is not enough. You have to be drunk with joy. Drunk with joy. Its drunkenness has to be so high that you absolutely don't know the difference between good and evil. You see, all year long we think the highest thing is to know good and evil, because all year long we are still hung up on the tree of knowledge. On Purim, I don't know the difference. Because let me tell you something. You know what I realized on Purim? The problem was not that I knew evil. The problem is, if I know evil, even the good becomes evil also. That kind of good which has an opposite evil, how good is that? You know, let's say I'm choosing between God and idols, and I choose God. How does it sound to you? Okay, it's a high level maybe. But then I realize I have to choose. Listen, I'll walk up to a girl and I say to her, you know something? To tell you the truth, I'm in love with 3 girls. But then finally I decided on you. You know, she'll blow her mind. I never had so much love in my life, right? Say, call me next year, you know, who gives a damn about this whole thing? I don't need it. You have to choose. You know, I say to God, you know, there's good and evil, and I decided to be good. Thank you. God says, oh, I never heard such beautiful words. So Purim, I'm getting out of the whole scene. I'm getting out of this whole thing. I don't even want to know the good which has evil on the other side. I don't want to know good, I don't want to know evil. I just want to know one thing, that there's one God. That's all I want to know. But you see, the knowledge, the God knowledge, which comes down to us in Purim, while we are so drunk, oh, it's a different kind of knowledge. It's a completely different kind of knowledge. It is so deep. And according to our tradition, this kind of depths didn't even come down on Mount Sinai. On Mount Sinai, God told us, give us the 613 laws. It's all beautiful. It says, don't do this, don't do this, do this, do this, don't do this, don't do this, do this. It's all beautiful. But you know what I'm doing on Purim? I'm going even deeper than that. Not, God forbid, that on Purim I say I can do anything I want to. God forbid, that's not the point. The point is that on Purim I receive God's word on so much deeper level. So much deeper. Let's put it this way. Take a little baby, it's raining outside. And the baby wants to go out without a coat. So the mother says, don't go out in the rain. Right? And the baby hears the words, don't go out in the rain. The baby wants to go out. Has to choose between going out in the rain and not listening to his mother or going out. It's all cute and sweet. So finally the baby says, okay, I'm listening to my mother. But imagine if it would be revealed to this baby how much the mother loves this baby, that it hurts her so much to see the baby going out in the rain without a coat. Imagine if God would open all the gates and show this baby, your mother doesn't say, don't go. Don't you know how much your mother loves you? She cares for you so much. Suddenly, it doesn't become, don't go. It's deeper than all this. It doesn't even say, do this. It's just the greatest outpouring of love. You see, all year long, I think God told me, do this and don't do this. And I accept it. Got to listen to God. But with this kind of knowledge, I will never wipe out evil. Because I always have choice. So once a year I'm getting out of the whole scene. Because once a year we're mamish absolutely wiping out evil from the world. And the way we're doing it, we're being so high, so high, so high. And the deeper the knowledge, higher the knowledge, which I feel on Purim, keeps me going all year long. And you know, sweetest friends, on Yom Kippur, and everybody knows that Yom Kippur is a little bit like Purim, and some of you know Hebrew. Yom Kippurim, the Gemara says Yom Kippurim. Yom Kippur is a little bit like Purim. Purim is even higher. The craziest thing is, on Yom Kippur I'm standing before God, I'm fasting and I'm confessing all my sins. On Purim, I walk around giving gifts to each other and I'm drunk like a dog lying under the table drunk. This is higher than Yom Kippur? Yeah, it is. You know, on Yom Kippur I'm still standing before God and I'm saying, I'm sorry I did this, I'm sorry I didn't do this. It's all cute and sweet. On Purim, I want no part of that. I don't even want that. Purim is so deep, so deep. You know, again, on a simple level. Imagine I hurt someone's feelings. I love somebody very much and I hurt their feelings. And I meet them and we talk it over. I explain to them why they hurt me, why I hurt them. It's a whole geschäft, right? It's very sweet. Then we make up. On Purim, I don't want that. On Purim, I'm just so glad I'm in the presence of God. Imagine I hurt somebody's feelings, I didn't see them for so long. And suddenly I see them. I don't even remember that I ever hurt you. And I hope you don't remember that I ever hurt you. I'm just so glad to see you. So glad to see you. And I'm not even promising you I'll never hurt you again. Because I don't know. I'm so drunk, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do tomorrow. But I know one thing. I just love you so much, so much, so much. So Purim is we're sending gifts to each other, not face to face, with somebody else. And here I want to share something very, very deep with you. Started learning it last night a little bit. You know, friends, everybody today, if you have problems, you run to a psychiatrist. If you have nothing better. Okay, the truth is some psychiatrists are good, some are bad. Like some doctors are good, sometimes are bad. I had the privilege some time ago, some psychiatrists asked me to give a little talk to them. So I asked them, you know, there's first aid physically, but there has to be also first aid mentally and spiritually. What's the first thing you're doing if somebody comes broken to you? First aid. And for all of us. You meet somebody who's so broken. So broken. What do you do? Or what is the first thing you do? Okay, every psychiatrist said something, and since I'm already like a little Purim, I don't want to say it was bad or good, but I thought to myself, if I'm in need of first aid, I won't go to them. I asked them, the truth is, if you yourself would be in need of first aid, would you go to yourself? Do you think this is first aid? Or you think you can do better? You know, friends, we have very few friends you can tell how ugly we are. Basically, I'm always hiding my ugliness. Because I'm so afraid if you'd know how ugly I am, you won't talk to me anymore. So I'm hiding it. But I want you to know something else. you know what we also do? We absolutely are hiding that part of us which is most beautiful. Because do I have a friend whom I can really tell how beautiful I am? Most of us don't. Because there is something so special inside of me. So special. And so holy. And so exalted. And I have to hide it. Whom should I tell? Because if I tell somebody else, think, he's crazy, right? Let's face it. He thinks he's special. Imagine if I tell somebody, I'm so talented, you won't believe it. What will they say? Have you seen a psychiatrist lately or something? I know a good one, It's cheap, but not that cheap, You should really talk it over with somebody who's more mature, right? Let's face it, friends, we don't have friends whom I can open my heart and tell them what God gave me special. We don't. We can lie to ourselves. We don't. We don't. Do you think children can tell their parents how special they are? Most parents get frightened when children tell them, I'm this, I'm that. What do you think you are? You're like everyone on the head. So you know what they do? They hide it. And here I want you to know something. You know why I became so ugly? Because I have nobody in the world to tell how beautiful I am. Nobody in the world. You know what's happening to us in Purim? Suddenly, I love my friend so much. I send word to my friend with an apple and an orange. I'm sending one apple and one orange. I have to tell two things, right? Listen to this. I'm sending you two messages. I want you to know, even if you're the ugliest in the world, I still love you. And also I want you to know, if you are the most beautiful in the world, I also love you. Let's face it, friends. The more beautiful a person is, the less friends they have. The more talented they are, less friends. The more mind-blowing special they are, the more everybody wants to tear them down. That's the world. That's the world of Haman. That's the world of killing, of stealing. That's the world we're living in. Right? That's society. Do you know what I'm doing on Purim? I'm getting out of the whole scene. I'm sick and tired of that kind of a world. I want a world where everybody can say to the world, I am so beautiful. I'm so holy. People say, oh, I'm so glad you are. Gewalt am I glad that you are. Gewalt am I glad. Gewalt am I glad. And I want to live in a world where a person can come to me and say, I'm so ugly, I need you to make me beautiful again. I can't stand it anymore. I can't bear it. And I say, I swear by God, I will not leave you until you're beautiful again. See, on Purim, God opens the deepest, deepest, deepest gates of heaven for us. The deepest gates of heaven. And what a day. What a day. And here I want to share something very deep with you. The world is growing up a little bit, And they know that you do healing with your hands. Sometimes you do healing with your eyes, with your thoughts, but with your hands very strong. On Purim, the Gemara says, Kol ha-poshet yad noistamai. On Purim, the way it's translated in it really means so, that any poor man who holds out his hand, you have to give him something. But according to Kabbalistic tradition, you know what it really means? Because God does whatever we do. If I give my hand to anybody who holds out his hand, God also. If I hold out my hand, God holds my hand. You know, sweetest friends, how do you make somebody beautiful again? You gotta hold their hand. Gotta hold their hand. There is no two ways about it, right? So can you imagine on all the holidays God gives us joy, God gives us freedom, God gives us the Torah. But in Purim, God gives us his hand. What a day. On Purim, I'm holding hands with the whole world. But the first thing is, I'm sending you an apple and an orange to let you know, can you please reveal yourself to me? Can you please tell me that part of you which is so ugly? And can you tell me also that part of you which is so beautiful? Because I love you so much, so much. And then you come, you hold out your hand. I'm holding out my hand. Because I have nobody either. Then we hold hands. What a day. What a night. Ti da 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 dee, ti da 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 dee, ti da da la da la da da la la, ti da da la la da la dee da dee, ti da la la. La la la, hi rai rai rai, hi rai rai rai, hi rai rai rai, rai 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 rai, hi rai rai rai, rai 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 rai, hi rai rai rai, hi rai rai.
Okay, this is one of the deepest Torahs of Nachman. We begin learning it on Shabbos. This month we're wiping out Amalek. Amalek is the arch-enemy of Israel. Amalek is the arch-enemy of every human being, especially of us Jews. Who is he? We're not talking now about physically a little brother Amalek running around. We're talking about Amalek, right? So everybody has Torahs. This is one of the Torahs of Nachman. Amalek is the one who comes to you and tells you, you can't do it. You're not strong enough to do it. Imagine one day I wake up, Mamash, and say, Master of the world, from now on, Mamash, want to serve you. So, brother Amalek comes, a little voice on the inside says, whom are you kidding? I know you. You're a failure. You were a failure so far. I know you'll do it maybe for 3 days and then it's over. I want you to know something awesome. I could swear that 90% of marriages who end up in divorce, during the chuppah, during the ceremony, some people were standing there, Amalek, and they were saying to each other, I'd love to see how long this lasts. Shooting arrows. You know what the world is doing to us now in Israel? And I don't want to talk politics. The world wants to tell us it won't last. It won't last. Do you know how many young people want to do something and nobody gives them courage? Rabbi Nachman says this is the worst enemy. And you know, we always think a good friend is somebody who invites us for gefilte fish. Gefilte fish I can buy myself. Sadly, love, most friends we have are our worst enemies. Rabbi Nachman says it 1,000 times. Your enemies are not your enemies. They're cute and sweet. Your enemies are your friends who tell you that you won't be able to do it because they know you so well. Think they know you. So I want you to know, Rabbi Nachman says, there are two things a person has to be aware of. You can always begin, but even more so, you also have the strength to finish it, really to the end. And you see, it takes a lot of courage to begin. But this is not the deepest courage we need. The deepest courage we need is really holding out. And you know what holding out is? Not that I'm successful from beginning to end. That I'm a failure every day. But I'm holding out. Holding out. This is the deepest. You know, whatever you think of people, that's what you think of God. Whatever you think of God, that's what you think of people. You know what Amalek is telling us? Face it. You really think one day the world will be paradise, the world will be good? Look, God is trying for so many thousands of years, it doesn't work. Amalek is telling me the same thing about God also. About the whole world. Forget it. Don't waste your time, it won't happen. So you know what we're doing on Purim? We celebrate it, it will happen. And on Purim we are living on the level that it happened already. On Purim there is no hidden. On Purim, Swamish, living in another world. I don't know how many of you ever had the privilege really having a real Purim. You know, some people think you eat to Homentaschen and you know what Purim is. I want you to know something. Our holy rabbis teach us, this is the deepest. The Gemara says, Yom Kippurim, that Yom Kippur is a little bit like Purim. But not really. On Yom Kippur, I'm standing before God, and I'm telling God all my failures, and ask for forgiveness. That's very nice. This is not the highest. Because who gave you the right to say something bad about yourself? In a certain deep way, this is Amalek is still hanging around there. On Purim, and why about Amalek? I'm not saying anything bad about myself. And now listen to this. We are sending gifts to each other, not face to face. Why not face to face? I want you to open your heart. You know what I'm doing with my failures? I'm hiding them. I don't want you to know about them. When I'm successful, I can tell you. When I'm bankrupt, hard for me to admit it, right? I'm not calling on myself. Thank God. Another failure. Mazel tov, Baruch Hashem, I failed again. You know what you're sending gifts? I'm sending gifts to let you know even that part which you're hiding from me. I give you strength. I'm giving you strength to that part which you think you have to hide. It's okay because that's the way God wants the world to be. You only learn by mistakes. And here I want you to open your heart in the deepest way. There is two kinds of learning in the world. There is learning 1 and 1 is 2, right? If you're not a complete idiot, 1 and 1, you take your 2 fingers, 1 and 1 is 2, right? Or take your toes, whatever's more available. Unless you have socks on, right? See, that's why the hippies were such good mathematicians. They could count on there, they had always the toes available. Anyway, but then there's a different kind of learning. Do you know something? I'm getting married and I buy a book on marriage. It was $5.95 second hand. So I'm learning and I know every word in the book. Do I know how to do it? No. Because the real things in life you only learn by mistake. And you see, when you fail, you make mistakes, this is the deepest teaching. This is the deepest process of learning. I want you to know when you study the Talmud and you say you understand it, you're out. If God blesses you, you're on the level that you don't understand, you're on the way to learn it. I tell you something very deep. I'm sure some of you remember, Rabbi must remember it from Israel, said it 1,000 times. I'm sitting on the subway in New York, going to Borough Park. How far can you go? Next to me is this absolute beautiful girl, and Mamash, I could swear she's my soulmate. I ask her, what's your name? Chanele. Take up my pen fast. Chanele. What's your number? 435-6611. Gewalt. Number in Borough Park. I write it down. Next day I call her up, take her out. 4 weeks later we're married. Does it blow your mind? No. The craziest thing, I'm sitting next to this girl. I don't have a pen, I don't have paper. And she's leaving the next stop. She says to me, 435-6611. Going out from the subway, says 435. But till I got home, I don't know anymore if it's 6611 or if it's 1166, and maybe it's 4356. Do you know something? For 2,000 years, I dial every combination. And one day, Gewalt, she's on the phone. Do you know how deep this is? So will you tell me now it's the same marriage like if I would have had the pen and the paper in my hand now? Something else. And here I want you to open your hearts in the deepest way. Mount Sinai is the straight teaching. 4 corners tzitzis, don't eat ham. Everything is straight learning. Yerushalayim is a city of mistakes. Everything is mistakes. You know what David HaMelech is, the one who built Yerushalayim? David HaMelech is the master of mistakes. David HaMelech always made mistakes. But you know what he did? He never gave up. David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayim. He lives forever. There is no mistake in the world big enough for him to give up. Why is right after Shabbos we have the feast of King David? Because right after the week I know I'm going to make too many mistakes this week. So King David gives me strength. So what? So you made a mistake. So what? So now listen to me, friends. The learning of mistakes doesn't come from your head. It's a different kind of learning. You know, Purim, I'm not even learning. I'm so busy sending out gifts. God bless you. I'm so busy doing all kinds of things. Purim, I'm drunk. You know what drunk is? I'm learning beyond my head, beyond everything in the world. And here I want you to know, Purim is the utmost fixing of the tree of knowledge. What's the tree of knowledge? I know it. This is good and this is bad. What's the tree of life? Has nothing to do with right or wrong, good or bad. Listen to me, I meet this girl, Chanele, and the question, should I marry her? Someone says to me, yeah, she's a good girl. The question is not if she is good or bad. The question is she my soulmate? The tree of knowledge doesn't know that. The tree of knowledge knows only it's good or bad. It's holy or unholy. And here I want you to open your heart. Because what's wrong with the tree of knowledge? Don't you have to know what's right and what's wrong? This is the deepest turn in the world. Before Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, they were connected to the highest place in heaven. And their knowledge of good and bad didn't come from their head. So much deeper. So much deeper. Like from beyond. When they ate from the tree of knowledge, their knowledge of good and evil became knowledge. I read it in Reader's Digest. I picked it up in the yellow pages. Outside stuff, head stuff. So take the world. They don't know they shouldn't kill. They'll still kill, right? You think knowledge makes a better person out of me? No. But that knowledge from above, if I'm connected to the highest place in heaven, if this kind of light shines into me, this gets to my bones, it reaches me in the deepest depths. You know, friends, sometimes you learn something and you know it, but it doesn't touch you. And then sometimes you hear one word and it reaches you in the deepest depths. Anything which does not touch you is from the tree of knowledge, so you know it, Mazel Tov. If you learn something, what was the whole thing of all the big rabbis, right? Big rabbis, God. Every word they uttered came from the tree of life. You know, I can walk up to a girl and say, I love you, tree of knowledge. Thank you very much. I can walk up to a girl, you know, I love you so much. I'd love to marry you. You know the information. Thank you so much. Call me next year. Oh, don't call me. Someone who talks to you and it's not information. It's for real. It's a tree of life, right? Oh, it's that deep. Gewalt is that deep, you know. On Purim I get it. Purim is the deepest. deepest, 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 deepest. And you see what it is? On Purim it is clear to me that nothing can throw me off. Nothing in the world. And you see, on Yom Kippur, I'm standing here before God and I say, I'm sorry, I'm such a failure. I made so many mistakes, I'll have to do tshuva. On Purim, I'm not doing tshuva. I don't even bother doing tshuva. On Purim, I'm so glad that there's one God. I'm so glad that I'm a Jew, Gewalt, worship God. Who cares? Who cares? It's awesome, right? I want you to know God trusts you as much as you trust others. As simple as it is. You know, sadly enough, he has so much out of trusting. And we always know what you did yesterday. Yesterday. And here I want you to know something very deep. If you learn from a book, where does the knowledge come from? Yesterday I read the book, and today I'm judging on account of what I learned yesterday, right? So your knowledge comes first and your judging comes after, right? But it's all based on the second before, right? When my knowledge comes from above, it's right the second, right? See, the tree of knowledge always looks at the person what you did yesterday. How do you know what you're doing right now, right? Maybe yesterday you were a gangster and today you're as holy as a Baal Shem Tov. I don't know. Who knows? So on Purim, it's awesome. Gifts to your friends and money to the poor. So Ramosh Gabrina says all year long the poor man thinks he only give it to him because he's poor. But on Purim, when he sees you giving out gifts to your friends, the poor man thinks, maybe you're giving me the money because I'm your friend. Ah. Is that deep? Gewalt, is that deep? Gewalt, is that awesome? You know, by the Rabbi Lemelech, listen to this. This is also in Bobov. Bobov Rebbe told a story that in Bobov, by his grandfather, maybe 80 years ago, maybe 100 years ago, there was only one big barrel of beer. And one husky chossid standing there, drinking beer. And nobody can get close to the beer. So the Rebbe says to him, listen, there are other people also who want to have a glass of beer. He says, yeah, but you cannot get drunk if somebody else is drinking. So the Rebbe got very serious. He says, you know something? It's not true. If you love another person, you can be drunk from seeing somebody else drink. Purim is something else. So here on Purim, all the Rebbes tell us one thing. When you send shlachmonos to another person, you can taste what the high priest felt when he walked into the Holy of Holiest. And here I want you to open your heart, this is the deepest. You know, holy has the opposite unholy. Beautiful has the opposite ugly. Holy of Holiest has no opposite. You know, there is something so deep. So deep. And you see, when I send you a gift, I'm not sending it to that part of you which is holy. I'm sending it to this deepest depths of you, which is the Holy of Holiest. I always tell my friends, remember, not everyone is holy, but everyone is the Holy of Holiest. That's something else. Holy of Holiest. So here, friends, on Yom Kippur, only the high priest walks into the Holy of Holies. On Purim, everyone. It's unbelievable. I can be the biggest shmendrik all year long, the biggest sinner. On Purim, I take an apple and piece of cake and give it to my best friend. And at that moment, I can taste the Holy of Holies. Okay, now, when you are sad, even what you understand, you don't understand it fully. Because when you're sad, your heart is closed. How much can you understand with your head without your heart? On Purim, when mamish, I'm an open vessel. And the way I understand what Yiddishkeit is, what God is, what God wants of me, the way I understand it on Purim, I can fast 10,000 times. It doesn't compare to what I understand on Purim. God knows. You see, the closest I can get to taste the redemption of the world is on Purim. I want you to know something awesome. Do you know on Purim, you have to be so drunk that you should not know the difference between Haman and Mordechai, right? The Heilige Woke, Rabbi Mendel Woke, would walk around all day Purim. And he would sing, Baruch Haman, blessed is Haman, blessed is Haman. You see, because when you are connected to the highest place, everything looks different. You don't know, right? You don't know where all the destruction leads to. Ultimately,